Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a look at something that is literally going to challenge how we think about our entire place in the universe. Okay, let's dive into this. We're unpacking this absolutely fascinating paper by George Profitilliotis. It's called The Allure of Complete Discovery as Passage. And let me tell you, this paper takes SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, and just flips it completely on its head. It asks us to really look at the foundation of our space research and question the hidden human motivations driving the whole shebang. It's this awesome mix of astrophysics, sociology, and philosophy. By the time we're done here, you are going to see the stars in a totally different light.
So I want you to just sit with this question for a second. Are we searching for aliens, or are we actually searching for ourselves? You know, when we build these massive radio dishes, point them out into the deep cosmic dark, and listen for a signal, we usually think we're reaching out to the unknown, right? But Profitilliotis' research suggests something entirely paradigm-shifting. He's saying that looking through a telescope might actually be a lot like looking in a mirror. We might be searching the cosmos not just for biological or technological life, but for the answers to our own very human, very earthbound problems. Crazy, right?
To wrap our heads around this, we're going to follow a pretty straightforward roadmap today. First, we'll look at the SETI imaginary. Second, a mirror to humanity. Third, the complete discovery trap. Fourth, rethinking the search. And finally, a post-discovery future. Simple enough? Let's get into it.
All right, starting off with Section 1, the SETI imaginary and this vision of the future. Now, just to make sure we're all on the exact same page here, SETI stands for the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. For decades now, this has been the hard science dedicated to finding evidence of intelligent life beyond Earth, usually by monitoring electromagnetic radiation for signs of alien transmissions. It's rigorous stuff. We're talking massive telescope arrays, heavy data analysis, peer review, the works. But the paper we're looking at today asks us to examine the invisible layer resting right on top of all that hard science. And that brings us to this term, a social imaginary. Now, don't let the academic jargon scare you off. A social imaginary isn't some fairy tale. It's basically a collective vision of a society's desirable future. It's the unspoken set of values and hopes that give our shared practices a sense of legitimacy. The paper argues that SETI isn't just about space exploration at all. It is fundamentally a social imaginary. It literally represents humanity's collective hopes and dreams being projected way out into the galaxy. Which brings us right to Section 2, a mirror to humanity, where we look at extraterrestrial affairs versus human affairs. Okay, so the author makes this really brilliant distinction between extraterrestrial affairs and human affairs. On the surface, SETI claims to be entirely about extraterrestrial affairs, right? Finding aliens, communicating with them, understanding them. But Profitilliotis argues that the SETI imaginary is implicitly and intrinsically linked to our own human affairs. In plain English, you literally cannot separate our search for alien life from our deeply held desires for human society. They are permanently tangled together.
So what's the actual imaginary of SETI then? Well, it's about the achievement of a desirable human future. We're essentially projecting our desire for the savior-like post-discovery era onto the stars. The underlying unstated hope here is that if we find a highly advanced civilization, their very existence, or maybe the advanced knowledge they might share with us, will act as this magical bridge, a passage that finally helps humanity solve its own earthly crises, survive our awkward technological adolescence, and step into a better, more unified era. We're kind of hoping they'll save us from ourselves.
Moving into Section 3 now, the complete discovery trap and the hunt for ultimate proof. The paper introduces this really fascinating concept called complete discovery. This is the dream of the undeniable ultimate proof of aliens. Think of the movie Contact or getting a crystal clear radio message welcoming us to the Galactic Club. The problem, though, as the paper points out, is that expecting this complete discovery to magically act as a passage to a better human era actually traps our scientists. If your entire field's underlying motivation is to find this one singular society-altering event, well, it creates a massive bottleneck. You start prioritizing research that only looks for that specific type of ultimate proof, and you end up completely ignoring anything that doesn't fit that grand cinematic narrative. I really want us to meditate on this specific quote from the paper for a second. The author notes that SETI research ideas get, quote, bundled in non-fictional conviction narratives promising SETI's imaginary. Just let that sink in. Present-day scientific research ideas are being restricted because they're being structured almost entirely around achieving this one specifically promised outcome. So, when scientists are drafting proposals or trying to get funding, they're often unknowingly writing these conviction narratives, basically telling stories that promise this complete discovery, rather than just following the raw, objective, open-ended curiosity that normally drives astrophysics.
So how do we fix this? That brings us to Section 4, rethinking the search and finding a concrete solution. The intervention the paper proposes relies on two pretty awesome concepts: futures literacy and triple-loop learning. Now, these are specialized cognitive frameworks designed to help people, in this case SETI scientists, recognize and unlearn their deep-seated societal biases. Futures literacy is basically the skill of understanding how our ideas about the future shape our actions right now in the present. And triple-loop learning, that goes way beyond just fixing a problem or changing the rules. It actually questions the very underlying purpose and principles of the system itself. And the author proposes bringing these frameworks directly to the scientists working on this stuff. The idea is to have a hands-on workshop for SETI scientists built around 3 specific steps. Step 1, reveal the imaginary. The scientists first have to become aware that they're carrying around this collective hope for a human savior. Step 2, reframe its role. They need to objectively look at how this hope is bottlenecking their current work. And Step 3, rethink research ideas. By finally unburdening themselves from the immense pressure of delivering this one complete discovery, they are suddenly free to explore a vastly wider, stranger, and honestly much more nuanced range of technosignatures and cosmic anomalies. It totally opens up the playing field. Which leads us to our final stop, Section 5, a post-discovery future, and moving beyond the trap. So why does all this actually matter to us? Well, because it's a huge reminder that even the most objective, data-driven science is still conducted by humans. And humans, well, we have biases. By recognizing these biases, by truly understanding how our dreams of a post-discovery future are literally dictating our present, we can finally move beyond the trap of that complete discovery passage. And the ultimate reward for doing all this psychological unlearning? We actually get to broaden the range of SETI research. We can start looking for alien life not as some magic cure for humanity's problems, but simply for the beautiful, objective sake of understanding the cosmos. To wrap things up, I want to leave you with this final, kind of provocative thought. If we change how we view our future, what else might we discover? If we stop forcing the universe to just be a mirror for our own societal anxieties and hopes, we might finally open our eyes to what is actually out there. Tackling our own psychological biases might just be the literal key that unlocks the universe. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into George Profiliotis' incredible research. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I will see you in the next explainer.